Are you looking to create global functions in Mule? In this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through abstracting common code into a global function that can be called from both Mule's Dataweave component and from inside Mule Expression Language. This will help you to manage common code in one location, making it easier to update, debug, and reuse. So inside Anypoint Studio version 6.3, we'll be using the Mule Server Runtime 3.8.5 Enterprise Edition. You can use Community Edition, you just won't have access to the Dataweave component up here, but we're also showing an example without using Dataweave, so you'll be okay. That's one of the beauties of a global function. It can be invocated from inside a Dataweave component or using a Mule Expression Language. As always, you can access the source code from a GitHub link down in the description. We've set up two flows here beforehand to save us time. Let me show you the payload that these two inbound endpoints will be receiving. The input payload is a simple JSON. This is supposed to represent a customer order. So we have the name of the customer and a subtotal of all the items purchased. So what our two flows are going to do today is take that item subtotal from the input payload and output a total that includes tax. So in our first flow, you can see it's a Dataweave component that'll convert the input to a JSON format with two elements, a name, which is just taken straight from the input payload, and an orders total, which is the items total times by a number here, which represents the sales tax. And yes, 13% is the sales tax where I currently live. In our second flow, we're doing the same logic. However, we're using an expression language component that will be doing the sales tax adding instead of the Dataweave transformer component. Because we're not using the Dataweave component, we'll have to add this JSON to object transformer where we convert the input JSON into a Java bean we've created called person. And if we open up person, we have three attributes: name, items total, and order total. And as long as these variable names are the same as the JSON key elements in our input payload, it'll be automatically mapped to the setters methods, which will automatically set these variables, so we won't have to do any transformations. And we've created this order total variable which will hold the final price including tax. And then the expression variable takes our items total and times it by our sales tax. And I've added this object to JSON just so that we can print back out our Java person object back to the user in a nice JSON format. Let's quickly run the project just to show how it currently works. And we get a no schema set error. And if we look at the stack trace, you can see it's coming from our Dataweave transformer. I've had this error before. What it means is that in our Dataweave code, we're trying to access the variables saying payload.name. However, Dataweave doesn't know what type of schema the input is in order to extract the variables using the dot notation. So the fix for this is to go up to the headers and just tell Dataweave what type of content we are sending to them. They can parse it correctly. Now we have a response with the two attributes name and order total instead of our input items total. And you can see the value is larger than our input items total. That's because we've successfully added the tax price to it. And quickly use our Mule Expression flow, which is the second flow in our project. Here we keep all three variables: the name, the items total, which is the subtotal, and the orders total, which is including the tax. And actually, let's just change that quickly on the second one. So let's go into the and let's keep item. Items. Perfect. Now we've set up our project. As a good software engineer, you'll notice that you have duplicate code in multiple places inside your project. It'd be a good idea to extract this code into a common location. That way, if the sales tax ever changes, you only have to change it in one spot. Also, if you ever have to calculate the sales tax anywhere else, you won't have to rewrite the code again. So this is the perfect scenario to where we want to create a global function. One of the bonuses of Mule is that a global function can be called from either inside your Dataweave transformer or by using Mule Expression Language. So let's define our global function. Let's click the Global Elements tab. Anypoint Studio doesn't have a fully graphical way of creating global functions. However, it can get us started. In the global elements, if we go Create and click on Global Configuration and just hit OK, it'll create some boilerplate code to get us started. So if we switch to XML, you can see that a configuration element was created. And that's the outer element that we need. So let's delete what's inside here that we don't need. And now we're going to define our common function. We're using Context Assist to help us complete our element names. And inside the global function element is where we'll define our function. Global functions are all written using MEL, the Mule Expression Language. And we'll call our function add tax. Now let's add our new global function into Dataweave. As well as in our expression component. Let's save it. To show the function in action, let's put a debug message on our expression component and let's run in debug mode. We're going to call our ME, Mule Expression endpoint with the and is paused on our expression transformer. And let's look at the input. You can see our Java bean of type persons with our inputted items total 99 without tax. And our name, and order total hasn't been calculated yet. So expression total should set our bean order total variable to include tax. Step through, let's open it up, and yes, order total variable has now been set. And we convert it back to a JSON string. So response payload will be in a JSON format. Now we'll show you the Dataweave inbound endpoint. And because there are no breakpoints, it should go right through. And there we go, it's the same price. So our global function is being called successfully from Dataweave as well as from Mule code. One thing that does bug me is that our order total has 4 digits. This doesn't make much sense when we're dealing with dollars and cents. Let's format that down to 2 decimal places. So we're going to find a second global variable called add tax and round. One of the beautiful things about the Mule Expression Language is it's built on top of Java, so you can use any Java library inside your code. To help us with our decimal places, we're going to use the Java class decimal format. And we're going to set 2 decimal places. One little thing you need to worry about is that some classes are automatically imported. One thing you need to worry about is that some Java classes are automatically imported, and some classes you have to define the full class path, including the package name. So if you get an exception saying Dataweave couldn't find the class that you're using inside your global function, try adding the package name and see if that helps. And now let's call our new function. Wait for our server to restart. Let's call it through Dataweave. Our first flow. And you can see now that our order totals that have the tax included now only have 2 digits. If you're interested in more videos on MuleSoft technologies and API development, please consider subscribing. Check out the card and link here to watch my previous video on converting dates and string format into Java objects inside Mule. If this video was helpful, please hit the like button. And if you have any other topics you'd like me to cover, leave it in a comment below. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Peace.